I just made a batch of granola and you guys are going to love this recipe. Let's get into it. I hope you can hear my cicadas. I'm sitting outside. So I'm taking 2 full baking sheets and I'm going to line them with parchment paper and just set them to the side. I have also turned on my oven to 275 degrees. I'm going to grab this coconut oil and I'm going to do just a little bit less than a cup of coconut oil in a metal bowl. And I'm just going to sit that inside the oven so it can be melting slowly while I put all the dry ingredients together. I'm using a gluten-free oats, but you can use whatever kind of oatmeal you have on hand. I like organic. I like it to be gluten-free. I kind of have my standards, but I use 3 heaping cups of those oats. And now I'm just emptying a whole lot of bags of nuts. And most of these came from Aldi. Actually, all of them did. I used the mixed nuts that are raw. I used the raw cashews, the raw pecans. I'm using the pepitas. Those are not raw, but they still work. I'm using a bag of their dried blueberries and a bag of their dried cranberries. You can add whatever you want to your granola. This is just what I like, and you know what? I love coconut. So I'm using about a cup to 2 cups of coconut in this recipe that is unsweetened and shredded. I'm also going to use about 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. That's organic brown sugar. And I love flaky sea salt. I love that little hint of salt in with the sweet. I'm doing about 3 pinches of that, and now I'm going to stir it all together. You just want to make sure that all of this is incorporated as evenly as possible because you're about to pour over the wet ingredients and mix it all together. So in the wet ingredients, I'm going to also use a full cup of my sourdough discard. I have used less in the past, but I love that coated, crunchy texture on my granola, and you get that from using more sourdough discard. So I used a full cup. And if you don't know what sourdough discard is, it is the byproduct of feeding an active sourdough starter. Now that my coconut oil has melted, you don't want to get it too hot. I added 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then I'm adding about 3/4 of a cup of maple syrup in there. You can go little or more, whatever you like. And then I'm putting that whole cup of sourdough discard in with the coconut oil. I'm using a whisk to mix it all together. You've got cold ingredients with warm ingredients, and so whisking them makes them mix up a whole lot better. And then I'm going to pour it right over all of the dry ingredients. This is so easy, you guys. The biggest thing is just bake it low and slow. So I'm going to pour all the wet ingredients over the dry ingredients and stir it really well. Get all the way to the bottom of the bowl and toss that together. This is what's going to help cluster your granola together and give it that light crunch over all of the oatmeal and all of the nuts and berries and everything you put. Once you have it all coated, we're going to divide it between those 2 baking sheets. And you want to put those 2 baking sheets, one on the top shelf and one on the bottom shelf. And then I typed out some instructions, but I will talk you through it as well. Every 15 minutes, you're going to go in the oven and rotate these sheets. So one's going to go on the top shelf, one's going to go in the bottom shelf. When the 15 minutes is up, take them out, stir everything around, and then swap the top to the bottom and the bottom to the top. And that's just going to ensure some even. Now I will put these 2 pans in my oven, one on the top rack and one on the bottom rack. And then every 15 minutes, I will alternate them. And I will also take it out and I will stir it with my spatula. I'll just gently lift it and flip it over. You'll see me doing that here. Now, let's talk about some other add-ins. You could do nut butters if you would like to, peanut butter, almond butter. You would put that into the wet mixture and whisk that together before pouring it over the dry mixture. However, if you wanted to do something like chocolate chips or those yogurt chips, I would suggest that you do those after the granola has completely baked and has completely cooled so as not to just make a melted mess. Besides eating this just like a snack, I will put this over a bowl of yogurt. And actually, that's what my husband and I had for lunch today because this smelled so good and it tasted fantastic over this yogurt. I hope you give this a try.